thought, what a great way to start tonight is pulling a sketch from 30 Days of Sketches. So today is October 24th, and so the sketch for the 24th day of 30 Days of Sketches over on Christy's Beautiful Life. So this sketch starts out with what looks like a black base layer. So I grabbed a piece of black cardstock here, and that's going to be my very bottom base. And then I grabbed my, what do you call it, white cardstock, and I sprinkled some black, what did I sprinkle on here? I don't know, some kind of paint stuff. It's not paint, it's shimmers, I think is what it's called. Shimmers Vibes Before Dawn. Now, I won this, so it's just what I have, but any black spray mist or ink you can splatter on, or paint. I've also done this with acrylic paint. So that's what I did there. And then I grabbed my Black Soot Distress ink because I'm going to ink all my edges in Black Soot. I like inking my edges. Some people like to distress their edges with ink, so that's me. Some people like to distress their edges with like a pair of scissors or some kind of blade to change it up a little bit. Some people don't like any of that. They just want their edges to be clean and cut and paper. So that is a personal preference. I'm using Black Soot Distress ink. So I'm going to take my splattered piece of paper, and I only did that really because that's what was in the sketch. So I probably wouldn't have thought to do that without the sketch. Another reason why I just love using sketches, because they always remind me to use the things. And I did it beforehand because it does take drying time, so I didn't want to have to wait while we were alive. Okay, so we got the black background, the white center, and then we got some splatter. And then the other thing I liked about this sketch was that I could use scraps for these different patterns of paper. And that's kind of what I had, was just scraps. So I already went ahead and cut the wedges of paper that I was going to use for that. And then after I did that because I didn't want to be boring and make you watch me draw and cut all of the wedges. And then I realized I should have saved one so that you guys could see how I do that. But I thought, you know what, that's okay. I'll just take a scrap piece of paper. And so this is just a scrap of pattern paper that I had sitting on my desk. And I'll grab a pencil and a ruler. And basically what I did was I just picked a measurement, and I think I ended up around 3 inches. So I drew a line that was about 3 inches. Okay, and then I drew, I took the ruler and went from kind of the center of that, and I just went to 6 inches. So this is a 6-inch piece of paper, so that's pretty easy for me, but I'm just going to put a little mark there. And then I made that into a triangle. Now, are these going to be perfect triangles? Nope, definitely not. And I think that's part of the fun in making paper crafts, is that they don't have to be perfect. They can just be fun. Okay, so here we go. And then I'm just cutting along those lines. You can use your paper trimmer too if you're worried about getting a straight cut. But like I said, this is just a scrap of paper for me, so I'm just showing you what I would do to make these wedges. And then I have my little wedge or triangle or whatever you want to call it. And that is how I made those. And then I can lay them out on my page, right? So let's just see see how I want these. So I'm going to ink the edges of them, of course, because that's what I like to do. I like the way it adds a little bit of dimension. I like the way it just makes all the papers, especially if you're using papers that are not all necessarily from the same paper collection. Sometimes it's nice to have them, you know, have that edge that's all the same so that it kind of combines them or coordinates them all together. Now the only thing I'm really going to pay attention to is that I don't want like two of the same color of paper right next to each other, which I don't think will really be a problem on this one. But also I don't want the like I don't want this and this on the same circle. I want the ones that are the same to go up onto a different circle. Yeah, there we go. So in other words, these are 4 different papers, and these are 4 different papers. Has anybody made it here yet? If you're here, can you just say hi in the comments so I know that I'm not talking to myself, which is okay too. I don't mind talking to myself. I'm fine with it. Other people probably think it's a bit crackers. I know my dog thinks I'm insane, but that's okay. He's allowed. I think he's pretty crazy some days too. So, oops. There we go. So I'm just going to start tacking down those little wedge pieces that I made out of my scraps. This was, oops. I find that when I buy a paper collection, oh, hi. Yay, some people found me. Oh, good. Joe, you're here. Yeah, I did. Hi, Ruth. Yeah, I did make it work. I wasn't really sure what to do because when I kept clicking the link for it to go live from the event page, it just kept saying, this link is no longer whatever. I couldn't use it. It said it was expired or something. I called it broken because it shouldn't be expired if we set it to work at 6 o'clock, right? How do you say your name? Is it Manya? It's a pretty name. So yeah, so anyways, this was a really fun class, but as I was saying before, I find that when I buy a new paper collection that I can usually get, that one doesn't want to line up for me. Maybe I'll try, nope, that's going to be upside down, never mind. I usually get about 10 layouts out of it. So if you're buying a paper collection, keep that in mind. It's about 10 layouts per paper collection, for me anyways. I don't know if everybody's as heavy on the paper as I am. You know what I should have done? Maybe I can still lift it. If you're doing this later, maybe don't stick down the white paper first, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it kind of fall off the edge there and then trim it, because of course my lines, like I cut them with scissors, right? So they're not exactly perfectly straight. So I'm just going to let them fall off the edge and then trim them off. And that should be good. It's a Dutch name, Manya. I like it. It's beautiful. So for those of you who just jumped on, I'm using this sketch. It's Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches. I put a link to her Facebook group in the comments. She does this, I don't know, every so many months, but she's got 13 series on there, so that's a lot of sketch inspiration if you like using sketches. I know I do. There we go. So I got those edges trimmed off so they're even now. And I'm just going to leave this upside down for a second because now I have glue on it while I ink up the edges of these 4 triangles. Yeah, so there's the sketch. Isn't it cool? And this Hocus Pocus collection has been so fun, but I'm almost done with it. This is all I have left right here, which is kind of cool. And I made, for the class that I did with these, I did 5 one-page layouts and 1 double-page layout. And then I also did, oh no, I ended up using something else. I was going to say I also did a design team layout with it, but I just remembered I ended up using something more cutesy because I did a layout for my granddaughter's album. And I also used pink. Halloween pink. Isn't it kind of interesting that they've added pink to some Halloween collections? Okay, I'm just going to stick this to my desk so I'm not ripping the paper all the time. Now, the only thing you also want to pay attention to is, do you see how there's some writing on here? So I'm going to make sure that the writing is going the same direction so that when I put this into my album, and it's not that I really want everybody to see what it says, it's just that if it's upside down, it's going to be a distraction, right? As soon as something's not the way we expect it to be, it's going to distract our eyes. Oops. Sweet. And again, I'm just going to let that fall off the page a little bit. I wish I would have thought of that ahead of time, but I did not. And that's okay. So Ruth, did you go to Starbucks today? Ruth has a special order at Starbucks, and they know her because she always orders her special order at Starbucks. Hi, Judy. Nice to see you. Thanks for jumping on. I'm glad you found me. Not where I expected to be. Oh, that's not going to work, is it? I'm going to do it this way. Oh, that's not going to work either. Uh-oh. Now what am I going to do? Going to have to... I'm just thinking, I don't want the 2 black papers together, but they might have to. I don't know if it'll matter, though. I do have 2 orange on this one, but they're not, I wanted them separated. I don't know. But then if I put this piece here, and then I put this one here, do you see how those 2 kind of run into each other? Do you think it matters if I do them this way instead? No, not really, hey? It's fine. And I was gonna switch out the cats and the pumpkins, but directionally it didn't work because then my cats would be upside down and my pumpkins would be upside down. So it's just gonna have to go like that. Okay, and now I've glued it to my desk. No, you didn't go today. Today's your Thursday this week, and you don't have... Oh. You had to go to the office today. Oh my gosh. Did you have to do work? It's not necessary, is it? I don't know what your weather is like out there, Ruth, but we have like a massive amount of snow right now. And I heard that you guys have it in the forecast for next week, and that's probably because I'm coming to Ontario and I tend to bring it with me. So sorry about that. $23 today? What? That's so weird. Oh my gosh. Well, hopefully it stays like that. Yeah, right? I know. I was like, ugh. Try not to, but it usually does follow me. It's so unpredictable too, because I know I usually try to go out there once in November, and this year I'm going end of October, early November, and I know I've been there sometimes where we're like playing in the leaves, and then other times where I'm like, wow, the snow is piled up on the side of the driveway as tall as the car. So you just never know what you're gonna get. Alberta's the same way. Okay, so here is the base of my layout. Now, obviously, their wedges were much smaller than mine. So if you want yours to look more like that, you're not going to want the full 6-inch length that I measured out at the beginning where I showed how long I was making those, right? You're going to probably want, I would say, 4. So same sort of idea. Pick a length that you want across the bottom. I picked about 3 inches, but you could do smaller, and then this way I would say about 4 if you want yours to not overlap like that. It's not going to matter for me because once I get my photos on here, it just won't matter anymore. I don't stress the small stuff. The idea is to use your papers in an interesting way, right? Yeah, I know, snow is crazy. Unpredictable. It's been nuts around here. Okay, these are my photos. This is my title card. It says "Too Cute to Spook," and it has this funny cat wearing a witch hat on it. This is my son and my granddaughter, her first time doing pumpkin carving, and she was just really like fascinated with the pumpkin and kept like, she was teething, and so she kept like rubbing her gums on the pumpkin, which, ew. I don't even like pumpkin pie, so I can't imagine why that would be a good idea, but so that is how I want that. Now, I think I want them to overlap a little, just because I want them to be I don't want that stuff poking through. Like if I leave it, it's kind of like messy in behind there. And I think I want this one popped up because it's super cute. My foam tape, this is Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. Crafty foam tape. I think this is in the shop too. I'm not really sure. I have extras. I have lots of stuff kicking around. If there's an apocalypse, I know I won't run out of paper. So I try to also make it so that I won't run out of adhesive. Because what good is the paper if I can't glue it? Right? So I actually just made a huge order for ATG tape online. I order from the States, and I order like a ridiculous amount. And I think the last order I split with a friend, and it's lasted me 3 years. So I just ordered again. Okay, what is happening? How come it's curling my picture? What I did there. The adhesive was like, I don't know, it didn't go down flat, I guess. Anyway, it's like turning my picture. Okay, so I'm going to do something like this, overlap just a little bit. There we go. So, Hocus Pocus. And I'm not going to put like a big title on here, although I could. Should I put a big title on here? Let me think. I don't know. What do I want? I was just going to use Too Cute to Spook as my title. And I think that's probably good. I backed these pictures in a patterned paper, which is this one, because I had a lot of this left over, and it's just kind of like a purpley blue twilight kind of color on the back. So I was like, that's good for backing photos. But also the little ghosties are super cute, right? So that one I'm going to do straight, and then these ones a little bit crooked, but I'm going to have to tuck that one in a little bit more. There we go. But I don't want to cover up the letters. Okay, so that is the base of my layout right there. So if we go back to the sketch, I made the background with the black cardstock and a white cardstock, and then I did some splattering on the background with some black shimmers, paints, inks. I won this one, like I said, so I don't know if you can buy these anywhere, but you can, there's definitely other kinds out there. Dilutions is the one that comes to mind. But also, just like acrylic paint works too. Super inexpensive if you're not really big into mixed media, but you'll want to just do it once in a while. It's a really good way to go. Yeah, so, and then I got, after I did the splattering, I got those wedges cut out and glued down. Okay, so then I got my photos on there. I did not use the same like they use landscape photos. I only had portrait. I think my daughter-in-law pretty much takes all her photos portrait style just because she's a cell phone photographer, and I think probably always has been. And so that's just the way they do it. And then what else can I say? Got my title on there. I need some journaling. I got my date. I also stamped my date ahead of time because I was worried I would forget to do that. So I typed out my journaling beforehand and printed it off. It says, for Amelia's first Halloween, she helped Daddy, Mummy, and Quentin clean out the pumpkin guts for the jack-o'-lanterns. They did not let the baby wield a knife, so that's good news. Now, what do I have left in terms of embellishments? Well, I have these stickers. So which ones would be good for this layout? What's Up Pumpkin probably would be cute. And I could probably use this one. And maybe this one. Yeah. Just use the things, right? Okay, so this under here or under here. I think if I want to make my journaling into a little embellishment cluster, it would go better under there. And then I think I'm going to do something with like these ones up in this corner. So let me see what I have left for. I also used the ephemera pack during my class. Although sometimes I wonder, okay, let's see. So I think I'm going to use this as a bit of a cluster base. I'm just going to ink it up and glue it down. And then I have that stripe represented in both spots. And then I can put my sticker that says, "What's up, pumpkin?" because it's a layout about pumpkin carving. Well, digging the guts out before pumpkin carving. And spooky. I don't know how spooky they are or how spooky she is, but yep. She's not spooky. Hilarious, yes. Spooky, not so much. Yeah, I think this, first of all, is too big of an element. So that's not going to go. Trick or treat. No, it's the same size. Keep calm and scare on, no. Eat, drink, and trick or treat. It's just not the right shape for this layout. So I'm going to get rid of that one too. I'm going to ink the edges of this one. Let's see. What if I put the pumpkin here and then this stuff kind of sticks out? Okay, I'm going to ink the edges of this one and see how this is not like a perfect rectangle. I don't think anybody's going to notice once I get it down there. I mean, you guys will, because you'll be like, oh, she put a half-cut piece of paper on there. But honestly, it won't matter in the end. I promise. There we go. Okay. Then this one I think I'm going to pop up on foam as well. Let's see. These are huge, hey? When I finished the last one and then I pulled this one out, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot how big they start out. And they go on for a really long time, which is kind of cool. If you like dimensional foam, or dimensional adhesive, I guess. Some people don't like that dimension in their pages because they don't want the bulk. But I use D-ring binders, so I don't think the bulk is that important to me. There we go. Okay, now what were we going to do with this one? We were going to put it down along the bottom. Don't really need to ink the edges of that one because it's kind of black along the edge. I'm going to tuck that and turn this down this way. Okay, now I think that's it from this collection. Now I'm just going to pull out my little bag of tricks here. So I have like iris containers that are like themed or whatever. This one's Halloween, and I have my little tray of Halloween goodies. So I am going to, I don't need the eyes, but what I was thinking is bats, because on the sketch, do you see how they have butterflies here? Yeah, I'm not going to use butterflies on a Halloween layout, but I could use bats. So there's that idea. Could use ghosts, but I think those will be too see-through. I have some enamel dots here. I always like to add those. These are cute too. I don't want to use the pumpkins. What else do I got? Some ribbon. Nope, nothing in there I want to use. Lots of stuff about candy. Maybe one of those. Those are cute. What are those? Okay. Nope. Nope. Alright. Moving on. I also have these, which are so fun. I got them at the dollar store. I love when they make like affordable things for that I can use in my scrapbooks. So yeah, I'm gonna use some of these. So little bat. Maybe I'll use a couple ghosts and a couple of bats. What about that? Okay. Fun. Yep. There we go. And we'll keep them within the clusters, I think, so that it's not too, like, wild. I think the patterns are pretty busy, so I don't want to make that all over the map kind of thing happen. What else is in here? There's a bat in here, and a witch. Ooh, a witch might be fun. Or do I have enough? I think it might be enough, actually. I know when to quit, right? No, I like the wood bats better. Well, I took all that stuff out and I didn't even use it. That's okay. Oh, I'm going to use the enamel dots, though. And I need some tweezers. One of the things about this collection, too, is, like, I used white back here, and there was some white in the collection, but it was more of this, like, off-white color. So if you have, like, off-white cardstock, it's a good place to use it. And like I said, if you do like these papers, because they are super cute, there was lots of really great images in this one. And I liked that a lot of them were smaller, like these pumpkins and the ghosts and stuff, so that they're more versatile. They're not so much in your face. I really liked that, and I felt like they were really easy papers to use on the more like grown-up kind of stuff. But like I said, like this is a layout about my baby girl, and it's also perfectly good for that. Okay, and I'm just using some white, I don't remember what this is called, Scotch. It used to be Scotch Quick Dry tacky glue, maybe. And Jo has all the different glues in the store. Go and check her out. She has like lots and lots of options. I'm going to move this way because it has like a crack in the back of it. Wet glue is like a personal preference thing. I think you have to, I did anyways, had to try a bunch before I found one that I felt like worked for me. I think it's one of those things that you just have, okay, I'm just leave him, he'll glue, right? One of those things you just have to keep trying until, I know lots of people like that art glitter glue. It's very popular. I see people using it all the time online, and also Nuvo, is it Nuvo that makes the dots? They also make the glues. Okay, so for finishing touches, I'm just going to pop in here some little enamel dots. So let's see which colors actually go with. So we got some black and orange. I don't have green. I could do yellow because I have some yellow. But I think I'm just going to go with black for this one, just because I don't want it to be too wild. So there we go. I'm going to use one large, one medium, and one small in each cluster. And I did not make 3 clusters, and I know that that's like one of those things that people do that's like, what do you call it? Like a design principle? I was going to say a rule, but there's no rules in scrapbooking. There really is not. It's just a design principle that everything looks better in odd numbers, and so 3 is one of those numbers. But so I am going to do 3 enamel dots in each cluster, but my clusters go this way, and the idea is usually you do it in 3 to make a triangle. So like these 2 and then maybe one up here to draw your eye around the photos. But here, because my diagonal line, so if you drew an imaginary line between the 2 clusters, the diagonal line goes through the middle of them, so it's also drawing your eye into the photos. Yeah. I was also going to show you guys this. If you have a Cricut or a die cutting machine and you have leftover scraps, sometimes I'll just run one through my Cricut or my Big Shot and just cut out some things. So right now it's Halloween, so I did a few different spider webs while I was cutting out a title for something else because I didn't want to waste the other half of that paper, and I thought might as well do some spider webs, so I did that with my leftovers. Hi Treva, so good to see you on here. Thanks for joining us. So I think that is it for me for today. I hope you guys had fun. Here is the sketch that I used from Christy's Beautiful Life. The link to her Facebook page is in the comments if you want to join in. Okay, so that is it for today. Thanks so much for coming and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye for now.